Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin,
And I'm your co-host, Dean
and
of the
joining
Dead.
us today on the show is one of the actors and the executive producer of The Outwaters. Thank you to Screenbox and all the folks over there for lining up these interviews for us and whatnot. And we have Scott Schamell. Schamell? I'm awful with names.
However you want. I don't even know how to pronounce my own name. Schamell is normally what it
Okay.
is.
And then we have Beau, who is the executive producer of The Outwaters.
Did you get that one right?
Hello.
It's Genot,
Genot. Okay. Yep.
but with the name like Beau Genot, you get used to it.
Yeah. I'm notorious with awful pronunciations of names. And I have a really bad last name too, so it's all good. But we're gonna talk about what you guys did in the film and how it all came about. So one thing I always like to do with any guests that we have on. I know we have two on today, and that's awesome. These double interviews have been really, really fun. But I always kind of like to go back to beginning of the careers of the people we have on here. So, Beau, we can start with you, and then kind of get to know you a little bit more, and know how you came about and making your film company.
Wow, I how did I end up in film? That's a really good question. I moved to Los Angeles many, many years ago because of the weather and the ocean, and it's a great place to be. And while there, I was looking for a job, and I thought, they've got this industry. While in Rome, do as the Romans, and so I started working as a temp, and ended up being a PA in music videos
Oh, cool.
Cool.
back in the early 90s when music videos were really big,
Yeah.
and got to work with some really great artists, directors, and just had a blast. It was like being paid to go to film school.
Amazing.
That segued into a stint with Zalman King at Red Shoe Diaries,
Okay.
which again was an extension of film school. And during that time, I started focusing on post production. And my career since then has just pretty much exploded as a post production supervisor, pretty much helping launched more careers than I could pretty much name, working on a lot of directors' first films
That's awesome.
that just had huge careers and just exploded. It's been really great to watch that happen.
Wow.
And, one thing's led to another, which led to another. I formed 5,100 Films about, wow, it's coming up on 20 years now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Wow.
Congrats.
Just to do projects on my own while being paid to do other people's projects. And that's pretty much, the genesis of where we are. Every project that I've been involved with, we have had complete control of, meaning we've raised the money. It's all us. We don't answer to anybody except our own creative desires and wants, and I really like that. And so when Robbie came to me, I've known Robbie for years and years and years. He was an intern at After Dark Films,
Okay.
and I was the vice president of production and post production. And we've stayed friends over all of these years. And he came to me and said, I have this film. I need some help getting it finished in festivals and sold. Are you interested? And here we are today.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's
He's a
awesome.
super talented guy, Robbie, isn't he? When we were talking with him the other day, and how he was telling us how he kind of put the film together and what the camera that he shot it on, and that he did all the edits in like iMovie.
Yeah.
Like what? When I see the films that I've edited in iMovie, they're terrible. This one's a masterpiece.
I understand, and I guess it's that determination that I think I've always seen there. I've known Robbie since he was very young, and so I've got to see him really grow and become the director that he is today, the filmmaker. I don't want to just limit it to director, because this is he made this film himself,
Yeah.
And with his friends. And it's that whole spirit of, hey, I've got some friends, I got a camera, let's go make a movie.
Hell
Yeah, it's so punk DIY, man. I love that. He's a great musician as well. He's got such a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, very talented guy. Hey, but I was going to ask you, talking about some of the music artists. Who were some of the music artists that you worked with over the years?
I worked with
being a musician myself, I'm always interested in that kind of stuff.
Some of the directors I worked with: Wayne Isham, Mark Romanek, David Dobson, Marty Callner. I worked with. I spent a week icing Steven Tyler's ankle.
Oh wow!
No way.
Aerosmith
so cool.
video. I traded back and forth with Dave Mustaine on numerous Megadeth videos.
That's awesome. Wow.
He has a very dry sense of humor. He's really actually kind of funny once you get to know him. It runs the gamut. I always draw a blank when it comes to this point, and it's like, from Prince to Morris Day to Kid Frost to Michelle, Aerosmith's in there.
Wow, man!
That's definitely a repertoire.
It was. Again, it didn't really mean anything to me. I didn't know who any of these people were. And so it was just like, oh, okay, I get to hang out with these people. What fun. And I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Wow.
I seen Steven Tyler's ankle. That's one. If I had, I'd love to be able to put that on the CV.
Part of that was the video was Living on the Edge.
Okay.
Yes, I saw them on that tour. I saw them on the Get a Grip tour. Yeah.
And further on, when we were doing some reshoots with Joe, the guitar player, I'm drawing
Joe Perry, yeah.
Joe Perry, yeah. I'm driving him and his female friend, wife, girlfriend, I don't know, to the airport, and we're discussing music. And I was like, oh, I'd heard this album, and I'd heard this album. And he's like, well, you've heard our album, haven't you? And I was like, well, the one song. And he's like, reaches in the purse, pulls out a cassette, and I'm listening to the new album, Aerosmith, on the way to the airport with him in the back seat a month before.
That's crazy, man.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
But this was just, everyday life to me. The one I keep forgetting to mention is Enter Sandman.
Yes.
Metallica. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, that's big.
You worked on that video? You worked on that video?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. You're a rock star.
As you can see, I've led a bunch of different lives before getting to
right, man.
where I am right now.
Hell yeah. Cool. Wow, that's awesome to hear about that career. Scott, moving on to you, where did acting and I guess filmmaking also kind of come into your life?
Well, the key phrase that has been said so far is Robbie made this movie with his friends. So I'm one of the friends. So yeah, I don't have a deep connection to the film industry in any way, at least in any kind of a professional sense. I mean, I enjoy good movies.
Cool.
And yeah, so it's all just been through this. My role in this is all through my friendship with Robbie. I've known him about 12 years now. We met at a work context, working at the environmental organization Greenpeace. And yeah, I mean, the whole time I've known him, I've been aware of his film work and his projects and the kinds of things he was playing with. And yeah, over time, when you are a close friend with somebody who does things like that, you sort of just start ending up doing things with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my single touch point to the whole thing.
That's awesome, though, being included on such a big scale, because this movie it's blowing up. Thanks to all the promotional work that Robbie has been doing on social media, also with some limited screenings. I was actually just at the early screening in Salem. I was there for that one, and Tim Erickson played, and he opened up for that. That was super duper fun. A lot of really cool people showed up over there too. They went to go see the film. It's a blast. It's definitely like a what did I just watch type film, but in a very good way for me anyway. And I enjoy the hell out of it. And your performance too is great in it. So for this being like, just doing something as a friend, like everybody did such a great job, and it feels like you've all been acting for years.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for being part of this and making this reality.
Yeah, I mean it's been a fun thing. The whole thing is just felt like a fun art project with friends. And even the phrase "I am acting" is not something that was in my head at any point in time. Maybe that's a part of why it looks fairly natural. But yeah, it just seemed to me like we were having a good time, and
well, that's good.
Something was going to pop out on the other side that was going to be interesting because we all know Robbie and we trust him.
Hell yeah. Dean, I'll let you swing some questions over there.
Yeah. So Scott, you say that you guys are friends, and when sort of Robbie approached you about being in the movie, how did you feel about the whole concept when he kind of explained, what you guys were going to be doing, and where it's kind of ending up and stuff? How did you feel about that? Was you just kind of throw yourself into the project, or did you kind of watch a whole bunch of horror movies to kind of get geared up for getting covered in blood and so much blood as well?
Yeah. I don't know, like it's really just I would have done anything with him because I know his tastes, and I know that he's a stickler for making something that actually works. And so, yeah, I mean, this would not be the kind of thing that I would have done with some person I didn't know. Said, hey, do you want to be in my movie? And we're going to splatter some blood on you, and you can roll around in the dirt. And you're like, I don't know, who are you? But yeah, I mean, Robbie and I would say we have similar tastes in terms of the kinds of things that we like. And he is my kind of go-to person in terms of introducing me to new and interesting films. And over time, there was just a very organic process of, okay, let's start. You just got to make stuff, right?
Yeah.
Make the kind of thing that you can make right now based on the resources that you have. And Robbie knew that this was the way to go. So I was always kind of in. I don't remember being against anything because I knew it was going to be fun, and I knew that in the long run he was going to be able to shape it into something that I would probably find impressive. So I'm just grateful because it was fun, and I'm happy for him.
You didn't have a moment when you was out there in the desert thinking, what the hell am I doing right now? What am I doing right
now? No, I think he had a lot more of those moments.
Yeah.
There's kind of like an inverse relationship between the level of stress and anxiety he might have in a certain moment with my comfort. Because to me, that means, he wants to get this right. And I'm just there to kind of help facilitate whatever that thing is. So, yeah. I mean, there are certainly times, as you can imagine, where you're out in the desert with the wind blowing on you and you're smeared in blood and you're starting to shiver, where you're like, what am I doing? But not in that sort of deep, what the hell am I doing way. Well, it's like, this is just a hilarious moment.
Gotta take the car and go back home. Bye.
I can't handle this anymore. I refuse. I just figured out that this is going to be weird.
You seem like a super chill guy anyway, man. So I'm sure you kind of kept the stress levels down for him, and kept him on a But what are some of the complications of filming in the desert? You mentioned like I don't know, weather-wise, was it super hot when you guys were out there, or if you needed to go to the bathroom, like there's nothing. So any kind of sort of mad complications filming out there? And how long were you guys actually out there for filming?
I mean, we did this over the course of, my guess is 2.5 years.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, and it was always done when people were available between times when they didn't have to work.
Yeah.
So I can, it's because it's not one of these things that has some giant production behind it.
Yeah.
And knowing that it's all an organic, evolving process, even if it was 100 degrees, you're just sort of thinking like, oh, well, this will just be a part of the film. This will be a part of the way that we shape the story. The only thing I can remember as being like an actual problem is there was a few moments where the wind was so relentless that you couldn't hear anything. But even that just became like organically wrapped into the story as far as I could tell. So again, for me, I was like, oh, this is just what it is right now. And this is fun and this is funny. And I know that Robbie was probably like, God, now I'm going to have to adjust in some kind of a way. But yeah, it was all part of the fun for me.
Oh wow,
that's awesome. The one thing I will mention is I was chatting with Michelle and Angela yesterday, and I'm just going to say the bees.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't there for the bees.
I think they're coming on the show relatively soon. We're trying to work on a date for them, so we're going to be chatting with them at some point.
Then I will. It's their story. Luckily, Scott, you missed it. I will leave it to them. Bring up the bees. Ask them about the bees.
I will. I'll take a note of that actually right now, if I don't forget. But Beau, for you, when Robbie came to you about the film, well, actually, I'll start with this first. Did you go to him for the film, or did he reach out to you and be like, Beau, I have a film that I want to do. Do you want to help distribute it? Like, how did that kind of relationship start?
Well, I mean, my relationship with Robbie, goes back to After Dark. He knows what I'm capable of. I know what he's capable of. And I think Scott really said it best is, you just give him the tools to go and do what he needs to do. And, we're enablers, but luckily what we're enabling is Robbie, and look what it's given us. So I've known about various projects that he's been doing, and I've been very supportive as a friend. But it's one of those things where you have to just let him go off and do what he needs to do. And I needed to go off and do what I needed to do. And when he felt comfortable, he came to me and said, hey, I've got these projects. I know what you can do. Are you interested in, getting involved and helping to, finish them, because post-production is what I do.
Yeah.
And then, getting them into festivals and trying to sell it. And I said, well, obviously let's watch the projects first, because you can't just jump wholeheartedly. And I mean, just as soon as we started watching, I just knew this was something that we were just going to go forward with. And that it's been, wow, I've been involved for at least a year. I want to say close to a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Where basically it's just been, here are the tools, do what you need to do. Here are my connections, sound, picture, to get it to the level it needs to be.
Sound design in this film is phenomenal. It leads so much with the sound, and I don't think I've ever watched a film that had me this immersed just with sound. Because the shots of you don't see anything happening. You're just looking at a ground essentially, and you're hearing everything. You're hearing Scott, you're hearing the girls scream and everything, and it's just like, what is going on? And you're terrified. And I love that. I don't think there's one film I can name that's like this.
And that is 100% Robbie. I took him to, my professional sound finishing facility to do the final mix and get it, to the 5.1 and that sort of thing. But they took what he did, and there was, no editing. That's all Robbie. And again, you give him the tools he needs, and you just don't question and just go do it. And this is what you get.
Wow. Wow.
It's definitely an audio experience, that, because I remember even watching the trailer with the headphones on, and I literally just, towards the end of the trailer, I threw him off my head because it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what the fuck was that?
one of the poster ideas and things that we thought of early on was, we dare you to watch it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, I love that tagline.
So you get that 100%.
Yeah.
And even with your eyes open, you never really know what's going on, and so it's really changed it that much. So
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. Scott, how did you feel when you kind of watched the finished product, when you sat back and watched it, on the screen? How did you feel about the movie?
I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I definitely saw a lot of the edits. So I think I had a pretty close relationship with the material as it kind of evolved. But there was a very clear moment when I finally saw it in the theater and saw how it all came together, where it really just had that emergent thing that I normally associate with really interesting art, where it all just kind of came together and landed in a way that I thought was like, okay, it's in the special realm now. And I think what I said to him is like, okay, like now it's time to be very precious with it.
Yeah.
I know how grueling the process is of kind of like getting all of the subtle shaping moments right. And yeah, I was just extremely impressed with what came out of it, which is just a testament to his abilities, as everybody is clearly commenting on here, and like and notice he really does have an artistic talent, and he can kind of like blend and merge all of the elements together in a way that really creates a wonderful kind of totalizing effect. So yeah, I loved it, especially in the theater. I think it's definitely a theater movie.
Yeah.
If you want to get the whole thing.
Yeah, especially because of the sound design and everything. And the film was beautiful. Like with the camera that he filmed it on, you're like, oh, okay. And then you watch it and you're like, wow, this is a gorgeous looking film. Like the desert it's just so beautiful, even though it's so like desolate and there's like nothing there, but it's beautiful. And like, the scenes with like where the blood is, it's so highlighted without, needing much of anything because of the light that's there. It's like, I feel like just the environment did so much more for everything in the film. It's such a beautiful film and it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Dean, I'll let you. I think you have a couple more questions. I'll let you continue on your road. Now.
I can't remember if we asked Robbie this or not, but I guess Beau, perhaps you might know. I think we did ask Robbie, and he wasn't too sure. But over here in the UK, obviously, Dustin, you got to see it at Salem Horror Fest at the cinema there. Not as a lot of horror fans have heard about it, but are there any plans basically to get it into theaters over here, or any kind of, because like we've got Skinamarink at the Prince Charles Theatre, for example. So any plans to kind of get it into some of the independent cinemas, perhaps, or even like, are you looking at perhaps like Shudder for a streaming service or something like that?
Well, Robbie probably didn't answer that question because he did not have the information to answer that question. And since you guys spoke to him, that whole scenario has changed.
Yes.
As of last week, we have signed with a company called Bluefinch out of London, which is a international sales company. And they are going to be going to the Berlin Film Festival in the next week or so and looking for buyers. So we hope to have more news about that shortly, but we now have a sales agent that is actually actively going out to buyers and searching for distribution everywhere. So it's coming. It is not only an American sensation, it is across the globe. So
yeah. That'd be great. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it on the big screen. I realize I just mentioned Shudder and it's on Screenbox.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I wanted to correct you on that, but it's all good.
Edit that bit out, Dustin.
I have the Screenbox logo on here, so I mean, they'll think Dean is just on something today. All good.
I was like, any plans to go on Shudder, like a streaming service? And I realized the whole reason I've seen it is because Screenbox sent us the screener in the first place. So yeah, sorry, Screenbox. We prefer you anyway.
I know that they were saying that they're waiting for the theatrical run to go a little bit before it goes on Screenbox, is what we were told. So let's hope this rolls into weekends and weekends and weekends, just like Terrifier 2 and all the other films that came.
And again, that just goes back to Robbie, and that when we were making our conversations about distribution, he was very specific about what he required in a distribution deal, and he said it has to be theatrical in at least New York and LA.
Yeah.
And he stood by that, and they're like, okay, we think we can make that happen. It's in our contract, and now we're in over 100 theaters.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Scott, awesome, you must be like over the moon with that too, being in this film, you're like, wow, I'm in theaters? What the hell?
Yeah, it's certainly a fascinating moment.
The other thing he was very specific and demanding about was physical media.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in addition to Screambox, there will be Blu-rays coming.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited for that. I need a poster to put on my wall, like badly.
I need a poster to put on my wall.
Like all like the new ones that's just the Outwaters that just goes down. They're all different colors, with
the eyes
like,
at the
their
top.
Eyes.
Yeah.
I want every single one of those because they're fantastic.
I ask. They'll give them.
Yeah,
they're Tarantino-esque. They are. They've got a real Tarantino vibe to them. Those posters.
Yeah,
and that whole 70s, 80s vibe. The guy Robbie found to do the posters is just amazing.
Yeah, they're very cool.
And did a really, really good job. So,
how about
again, the resources he was able to pull in different arenas as well. Every single trailer that you're seeing out there, he cut himself.
Wow.
We didn't give that power up. He's like, yeah, you want a trailer? I'll cut it for you.
Such a genius. Like seeing this a lot with indie filmmakers lately, with how talented they are, and it's just going to show and prove that you don't need these big companies to make this product for you. And like I keep saying, like the future of horror and filmmaking, like in general, really is indie. Like the solo filmmakers and friends making films is taking the world by storm.
It's one of the things that we talked about my music video days. It's one of the things I learned. My whole early days in LA were hanging out in the music scene, and this was the early 90s when the whole music scene was up in shambles. Nobody knew, and what it all boiled down to was owning everything yourself and licensing it. And that's how you get control and make the creative decisions that you want. And then you're like, all right, you can license this and we'll all make money.
Yeah.
And we've kind of taken that, call it that punk rock philosophy, that whole, it went through music. It's now taking over film, and it's you've got those two. You've got the really expensive $1 million movies, and then you've got these really organic, homemade products that I don't think this could have been made in the $1 million range with actors. I don't think they could have pulled off that acting. I think that organicness of it is what really pulls this together.
Yeah, for sure.
We were saying how like the Terrifier movies as well, that how the first one was kind of a bit of a sleeper hit, and then they did like a crowdfunding for the second one, and then just basically and that was in the theater for way longer than they anticipated, wasn't it? And now it's kind of, you feel like the bigger studios are coming in and going, this is what we need to do. We need to make films like this.
Terrifier definitely set the stage for a lot of things, and I love it.
We were very excited for Terrifier 2's success because our trailer was playing in front of it, and so the better it did, the more exposure we got. So
that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I was just thinking about film festival actually, because there's a good friend of mine, a guy called Stu, runs a film festival over here called the Dead of Night Film Festival, and I believe Outwaters was played there, and I'm so gutted I missed it actually, because that would have been a chance for me to see it on the big screen.
Stay tuned, because here's the thing about Robbie is film number 2 is pretty much about 85% done.
Yeah, he was talking about that Tinsman Road, I think.
Tinsman Road, and ready to start playing film festivals soon, and we're probably gonna follow that same map and play as many of the same festivals as possible.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
keep an eye out for the next one coming. And yes, Outwaters is coming to Europe, I promise.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
And I was
love-
actually just thinking, because when I saw this last week, we got the screener for this film, thanks to Screenbox, prior to all this, to get geared up for all the interviews and whatnot. And I didn't realize it until we talked to Robbie and Leslie Ann about Tinsman Road, and there's actually, like, he has a Tinsman Road sign on one of the doors in this film. So anybody listening to this, watching it, look out for that, because I was like, oh wow, there's a little bit of a hint right there. So
you are correct, and there are a bunch of Easter eggs in the first third of the movie that after you watch the movie, you really need to go back and watch it again, because you'd be like,
yeah.
And that's what I love about Robbie is he's got all of that in there, because it does make you go back and watch the movie again and again and again to see everything that he's hidden. And I think that's comes from a true horror fan as well, and a true filmmaker who likes to be able to do that and make it not just a one-time experience. This is over and over, so that you get to just see the different facets of how his crazy mind works.
Hell yeah.
Incredible.
Scott, I wanted to ask you, this will be going out, I think, the day after it's actually in theaters, so it's okay to talk about certain spoilers. Robbie was very keen on not talking about them when we were interviewing last week, but that's because we put it out before it was out in theaters. But I wanted to ask you, was there a scene that was difficult to do, or I don't know, just something challenging, or I don't know, anything that you were unprepared to do, or were you kind of just like gun ho and like, yeah, I'll do whatever?
It was that. I know that doesn't make for an exciting story, but yeah, I mean, I don't care.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I mean, yeah, there was nothing challenging. It was all just interesting and funny, and I knew that anything that might feel physically uncomfortable wouldn't be lasting for more than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I just have a certain psychology where it doesn't actually bother me at all. So yeah, no, this was not a film that was pushing my limits as an actor.
That's awesome.
Which is interesting when you see the content on the other side. It's so
oh
ridiculously
yeah, for sure.
raw and like attempting to shred you open. But yeah, from my perspective, it was just playing with friends, having a good time. Isn't this funny?
And the donkeys. I mean, how was it like, chasing those things? Like, I would have been scared, like, going anywhere close to them.
Yeah, the donkeys were interesting. Initially, we weren't even going to film them, but they they kept calling to us, and we had to get them in there at some point.
Maybe they were trying to tell you something.
Yeah, maybe it's a. But in terms of chasing them, it was just another one of these funny organic moments of, well, they're right there. I'm just going to get out of the car and start walking towards them.
Oh, yeah.
One of the advantages, I guess, of not having a script. There are always trade-offs, but that's one of the good trades, I think.
Oh yeah. Dean, I'll let you swing some more. I don't know if you have any more over there, pal.
Oh, just the one more question, really. Just Scott, like, what's next, man? What have you got? Like, have you got any other acting jobs lined up, or what's next for you? In
working with Robbie.
Yeah. I mean,
projects have you got lined up? Yeah.
I don't have any. I mean, I would do anything with Robbie. Again, I'm very sort of innocent when it comes to any of this industry stuff. I guess if anybody reached out to me, I would listen.
Yes, please reach out to Scott. We need to get him more work.
Yeah, man. Look at that face. Come on.
Look at this face. So yeah, I mean, my life at this point in time is considering out I'm considering going back to school for counseling and social work and things like that. But
okay, cool.
I mean, obviously this could turn into something. I would listen. I would talk to people. But I think I imagine that it would have to be a similar sort of process of feeling organic.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
people. What's the thing that you're working on? Does this seem interesting? Can I imagine having fun doing this? Do I trust the people involved, et cetera, et cetera? And to figure out any of those things, I would probably say, Robbie, tell me about this situation because I don't know anything.
Hell yeah. I do want to see you in more
Beau, you
films,
tell me.
though, for sure. For sure. So,
How about you, Beau? What other than working with Robbie, what else have you got in the pipeline? What are you working on at the minute?
Well, I'm currently working on a big name television show, which is keeping me very busy.
okay. Okay.
And paying our bills, which I'm very thankful for. And beyond that, we've got Tinsman Road, and I don't really. My company isn't one that again, like Scott, if it's organic and it feels natural, and am I going to have fun with this? Great. If not, I don't really. I've had so much fun in my career as it is. It's now I do it for fun, or I do it for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between the two, in that here you're getting me at my professional best. Here we're going to have a whole lot of fun, and we're going to make great projects. And if they make us money, great. If they don't, if we have a great time, great. I'm trying to make that whole filmmaking part back into a hobby that I love doing for the organic nature of doing it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I want to see what you can do with that. Oh my God. I need more films to watch. So yes, please start making more. Even though there's already so many films. Like this year, it's just beginning, and there's so many awesome films coming out, and ones that have already came out. And for everybody listening to this and watching this, I hope that you enjoyed seeing the Outwaters at your local theater, and make sure that you are reaching out to more theaters. If there's one in your area and they're not showing it, like, just got to talk to them. You got to let them know that you want to see this. It's definitely a movie you need to see in the theaters. And we want this to be, and more than just one weekend. We want it to be like all the other films that have been going out. Skinamarink was only supposed to be one weekend, and it turned into like 2 or 3. Same with like Terrifier 2. So I imagine the Outwaters is going to be the exact same thing. I'm really looking forward to the success for everybody that was involved, and I want Robbie to see that people actually enjoyed his film and like want more. I want more already, and I've watched the Outwaters. Geez, Dean, we watched it together. Then I watched it another 1 or 2 times for the screener. Then I saw it last week, and then I'm seeing it again this week. So it's gonna be like 5 or 6 times that I've seen this film. And I want more. It's a crazy film, but it's a good crazy. It really, really is. So I'm looking forward to everything that Robbie's going to be doing, and with you folks and whatnot. It's an exciting time to be a horror fan and a moviegoer.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Amen.
I'm sure he's going to deliver.
Hell yeah. I'm waiting to see how everybody's reactions are, and especially when it gets on the Screenbox too. That's going to be huge. Like, being on a streaming service that's starting to kind of come into its own. I imagine both of you are like, this is nuts. And Robbie, I know he's definitely stoked for it all. It's great success on everybody, and congrats to everybody involved in making this come to fruition. Seriously.
Yeah,
we're very thankful to Cinedigm and to Screenbox. We couldn't be happier. They've treated us very, very well, and we look forward to a long-lasting relationship with them. Scaring the hell out of you people.
Oh yeah,
they're great. They're great guys. Everyone we speak to has not got a bad word to say about those guys, man. And they really look after us as well for the podcast. And they send us a ton of screen. And literally, so many screeners, right, Dustin? Like every day is like another one, which is great. That's, as fans, that's what we want. We want to watch as much as we possibly can. And again,
I also want to scream the praises of Bluefinch, our international partner as well. They have been nothing but fantastic, and we look forward to a long relationship with the both of them.
Hell yeah. Well, this is awesome time for everybody, and I hope everybody gets to see more from Robbie, and everybody gets to enjoy this film and whatnot, because it is a great, like I say it a lot, and it's because it is. It's really, really good. But I think this is also kind of going to be one of those films that it may not be for everybody. That's completely fine. But go see it anyway. Go support it. You got to support films like this. You need to show the numbers and say that you don't have to be a big studio to make a film for people to see. Like, clearly, just friends making a film. It's like the old days on YouTube of people making these short films and putting it on there and then it blowing up. It's the equivalent of that, but on a much bigger scale, financially and everything. So this is awesome.
Sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
Independent cinema matters.
Yes.
And without the audience, independent cinema doesn't exist.
It's true.
Absolutely.
We're very reliant on our audience and our fans, and it behooves us to make movies for them, and we want to, and be there for us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Please go support this film. See it at a theater. Even if you have to drive, go support it. Or there's some people like in my friend circle who sometimes they can't get to a movie and they buy a ticket anyway. And I've done that. I bought a ticket if I couldn't make it to a film because I wanted to support it. That's another way of doing it. I mean, yeah, you may be taking a seat from somebody, but at least you're supporting it in some sort of way, So I encourage that as well. Like if you can't make it to a showing, buy a ticket or gift it to somebody, They can go and do that. I've been trying to champion that a lot with my friends and other people that I talk to online to just support it any way you possibly can. We need support. The more support, the more success, and the more movies we get.
Cool. And we keep pushing it as well. We're constantly pushing it. In fact, I had a couple of friends over here in the UK. We don't get Screenbox over here, but they've heard of the Outwaters. And they've heard the buzz going around, and they were like, "Oh my God, I'm so jealous that you've seen it. Where can I see it?" I'm like, "Soon."
Soon.
So yeah, we'll keep championing it for you guys because we love it. We think it's great. So yeah, well done.
My birthday is on Sunday, so I couldn't have asked for a better birthday present than to have this in theaters. And
that's awesome. Well, happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Oh yeah. And this was a really fun time, and getting to know everybody, and I always extend this to all of our guests that you can always come on whenever you want. You're now both part of the podcast family. Now you're both friends. So Beau, if you ever have anything in the works, you want to come on and talk about it, Scott, same with you. If you by chance you get called onto a movie and you're like, hey, I want to talk about this thing, or whatever it may be, you both are more than welcome to just reach out and be like, I want to come on. This was fun. This was really, really fun.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you both for taking your time and coming to talk about the Outwaters and some of your careers or just beginning careers with Scott, because I know, man, there's going to be somebody that's like, I need him. I need him for this film. And I know Robbie's going to reach out to you again for something. I mean, come on. You did such a great job in this. And the movie is crazy. And it's at times hard to follow, but that's what I like about it also. But, Beau, Scott, thank you both for taking your time out of the day to come talk to Dean and us and myself and to anybody who's listening and watching. This will be coming out, what day is it? Tuesday? So this will be out on Friday. I'll be dropping this one up Friday this week. And Beau, again, happy early birthday. And thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, same to you. Thanks.
We'll definitely be chatting again soon. So Dean, as always, thank you for, being my partner in crime as well.
Good, brother.
All right. We'll catch everybody on the next one. Thank you guys so much.